Thanks for checking out this question from our daily live Zoom calls. Please like and subscribe to keep learning how we help the largest online community of self-directed retirement investors and entrepreneurs grow and control their retirement funds.
I have a single member LLC taxed as a sole proprietor. I've been contributing to a SEP IRA and I've already filed my 1040 for 2021. I just learned I can do a solo 401k in an LLC. Am I correct in thinking that I can establish a solo 401k with you now for fiscal year 2022, funded in 2023 before my 1040 is due with extension, and can fund it with 100% with after-tax contributions up to $67,500? My Schedule C line 31 will be over that amount, and I'm over 59 and a half. Okay, great question. So let's, I've got started to pull up some resources on this good question. One second. So let's first start out with our basics, right? So in terms of the contributions, if you go into our mysolo401k.net, click on contributions, it'll pull up this page where we have a wealth of information. So you can see, for example, there's a chart here talking about the 2022 annual solo 401k contribution deadlines. So as long as you set up the plan for 2022 by December 31st, by the end of your calendar tax year, which would, if you're filing on a 1040, would be December 31st, that'll preserve the right for you to make all types of 2022 contributions anytime up until your tax return deadline, including any timely filed extension next year. So if you file a timely extension, that's going to give you up until October 16th of next year. Now, if you consider a SEP IRA versus solo 401k, and let me chat over this page here to our Zoom, but there's many advantages of a solo 401k over a SEP IRA. One, of course, is the ability to make Roth or Mega Backdoor Roth. You also have the ability to take a loan. You cannot take a loan from a SEP IRA. Another would be the ability to invest in alternative investments. So just to name a few off the top. Now, if you have made any contributions for 2022 to your SEP IRA, that may limit you from making any solo 401k 2022 contributions. For example, if it's a safe harbor SEP IRA, in other words, Form 5305 was used to set up the plan, you cannot make contributions for the same year. So in other words, for 2022 to both a safe harbor SEP IRA and a solo 401k. But assuming that you haven't made any 2022 SEP IRA contributions, you could just choose not to make any, right? Because if anything, you can make more contributions to a solo 401k than a SEP IRA, because you're really only able to make the employer contribution to the SEP IRA, number one. And number two, even if it's not a safe harbor SEP IRA, so Form 5305 was not used to set up the plan, you have to reduce how much you can contribute to the solo by any contributions that you already made to the SEP. So you're not going to have any advantage of having made contributions to both types of plans. Now, back to your good question, because there's a few clarifying points here. So certainly, again, if you set it up by the end of the year, meaning sign the documents, right? You don't have to open the accounts. You don't have to make the contributions until next year. That'll preserve the right to be able to make those 2022 contributions. Now, another key thing to understand is the voluntary after-tax contribution limit is really 100% of your self-employment compensation, not to exceed the overall limit, which for 2022 is $61,000. And that contribution limit doesn't go up because you're 50 or older. What you can do is you can make a catch-up contribution, assuming you've got the self-employment income to justify it, assuming you haven't made that catch-up contribution to another plan, like a day job plan, but you can make a catch-up contribution, but not as an after-tax contribution. You would make that as an employee Roth contribution. So you could put $61,000 into the voluntary after-tax, and then you could put $6,500 into the Roth solo 401k. You can move the after-tax funds, the voluntary after-tax funds from the after-tax sub-account over to the Roth account. So at the end of the day, you'd have that $67,500 in your Roth solo 401k sub account. So that's a tweak to what you were saying. It's technically not an after-tax contribution. If you go back to that contributions page that we highlighted, again, if you go to mysolo401k.net, search for contribution guides, second search result, it's going to be the contributions guides page. If you look at those Mega Backdoor Roth presentations, we go through multiple scenarios and we talk about this type of scenario. So great question. Hopefully that helps.